Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Date is May 17th, 2021. The time is now 7 o'clock p.m. I call to order a meeting of the Havre Grace Mayor and City Council. No sound? My mic's on. You good? Okay. Anyway, I call a meeting of the Havre Grace Mayor and City Council. And I'm going to call the roll. Council President Glenn.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson.
Here.
Councilmember Zinner.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Ringsager.
Here.
Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Excellent. If you could please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and the opening prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If I could kindly ask everyone to remain standing, we have a privilege to call forward Ms. Kamei Murphy for the opening prayer. Good evening, young lady, and thanks for being here.
Thank you. Today is the feast day of Thurgood Marshall. Today, May 17th, many churches throughout the world observe the feast day of Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall was a native son of Baltimore, Maryland, where he was born in 1908, raised and educated, and in 1933 began a law practice. He was the lead attorney in the decisions to integrate the University of Maryland Law School in 1936. And in 1954, the Supreme Court case Brown versus Board of Education, ordering the desegregation of public schools across the United States. For 24 years, from 1967 till 1991, he served as an Associate Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. He once said, "Where you see wrong or inequality or injustice, speak out, because this is your country, this is your democracy. Make it, protect it, pass it on." A committed Christian who died in 1993, he is remembered as a tireless advocate of civil rights, especially for those fellow citizens who were excluded, marginalized, and imprisoned, and as a wise and godly man who knew his place and role in history and obeyed God's call to follow justice wherever it led. From the prophet Amos, "Seek good and not evil, that you may live, and the Lord, the God of hosts, will be with you. Hate evil and love good, and establish justice in the gate. Let justice roll down like waters, and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream." Amos 14:15. Let us pray. Eternal and everlasting God, you blessed your servant, Thurgood Marshall, with exceptional grace and courage to discern and speak the truth. Grant that following his examples, we may know you, Lord God, and recognize that we are all your children, brothers and sisters to one another, created in your love and called to love one another. In the holy name of God we pray. Amen.
Amen.
As a note, I would like to say that Thurgood Marshall was a very good friend of my father, Cab Calloway. They were in high school together. And as I noted, they spent a good bit of time in the principal's office. But the interesting thing is that Thurgood Marshall received his fame from memorizing the entire Constitution. And my father received his fame for forgetting the words to a song and singing Heidi Ho.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Please be seated.
Mr. Mayor, you gotta invite her back more often.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, before we move forward, I have a change to the agenda.
What you got, Council President?
I'd like to move number 10 proclamations up to under number 7. It will come under presentations. We have EMS personnel here tonight that have another engagement they have to get to. So if we could move that proclamations up to after presentations, I would appreciate it.
Okay, so we'll do like a 7B, right?
Yes.
Okay, you got it. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 5, approval of the minutes from the City Council meeting, May 3rd, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Zinner, seconded by Councilmember Ringsager. Questions or comments on the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to approve the City Council meeting minutes of May 3rd, 2021 are approved, 6-0 in the affirmative. Item B, Budget Public Work Session minutes from April 26, 2021. Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by Councilmember Martin. Question or comments on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to approve the Budget Public Work Session minutes from April 26, 2021 are approved, 6-0 in the affirmative. We will go to item 6 on the agenda. It's comments from citizens on agenda items. This is the part of the meeting's agenda. If you're here this evening to speak on something that is on the agenda, now's a good time to do so. If you're here because you wish to speak of city business that is not on the agenda, there is a place towards the end of the agenda, at the end of the meeting, to speak on. So is anybody here in the audience here to speak on agenda items this evening? Okay. Council, any comments? Okay, we will move on to Patrick, do you have a comment?
No, Mayor, there's been no comments submitted.
Okay, thank you. We will move on to item number 7. And this evening, we have 2 presentations. And the first one is the official election results. This will be presented by Mr. George Dybel, the election board chair.
Well, Mayor, George, I spoke to him this evening at 6 o'clock. They rushed his wife over to the hospital at Upper Chesapeake, so he's accompanied her and has asked if I would do the honor. So with your permission, I could read the results.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay. All right, so the official results from the May 4th election, which also includes the absentee and provisional ballots, Bill Martin, 665. David Martin, 492. Jason Robertson, 544. Tammy Lynn Schnegus, 311. Richard Werner, 208. Carolyn Zinner, 507.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seipel.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Also, item under presentations, we have an item B, which is EMS Week, May 16th to 22nd, 2021. And this is the week every year where we take time to pause and recognize the men and women who take the time to respond to us in a life-saving manner time. So if I could call forward the members of the Havre Grace Ambulance Corps. And if I could ask the chair of the Public Safety Committee, Councilmember Boyd, would you like to join? Shake your hips.
So this is multi-directional, so if you all come in about from a line from that, yes, come in. Right.
So instead of wearing a lapel pin, it's supposed to pick up our voices. Highfalutin technology, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's
City
impressive.
Council chamber. So
Since
anyway.
since I left, it's looking nice here.
Well, we didn't want to disappoint you, John. You know,
Well, I was sitting there, I wanted to vote there, and was,
you remember the days of the racetrack. And you remember the canal, right?
that was just a little ahead of my time. Close, but it was just a little bit ahead of it.
Yeah, so anyway, it's good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. Absolutely. So thank you very much for joining the Councilmember Board, Chair of the Public Safety Committee. So I'd like to take this moment to thank everybody for what you do. I know you guys have been busy lately, and very busy. I want to thank everybody. And mind if I read this into the record?
Ready.
All right. City of Havre, Grace, Maryland Proclamation Emergency Medical Service Week.
Get a little closer.
Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of the emergency medical service team are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves survival and recovery, those experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas emergency medical services have grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventive medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. Whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital care for providers. Whereas the members of emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continue education to enhance their life-saving skills. Whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and accomplishments of emergency medical service providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now therefore, I, William T. Martin, Mayor of the City of Havre de Grace, along with the members of the Havre de Grace City Council, proclaim the week of May 16th to 22nd, 2021 as Emergency Medical Services Week, City of Havre de Grace. Signed by myself and the members of the council. Gentlemen, I'd like to present this proclamation to you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, John. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Can we get a, hey, absolutely. I want to get a picture real quick. Want to hold that, John?
Yeah, we go in front of the microphone.
Yeah. There's only one problem with that. Got it done.
Before you leave, just wanted to me, when I signed the proclamation and I knew I was going to present it to you, I couldn't help but think about what we all went through this past year. And, you know, it's not that you guys aren't 100% all the time, but you guys had to be 150%. And in a lot of case times you go on calls and put yourselves at risk just as much. So the dangers that our first responders faced this past year, rendering assistance, and sometimes you got calls for someone who you knew had COVID. You know, and you still went and you still gave assistance. So I think you know, this proclamation this year comes a little deeper from the heart from everybody, and just want to give a big thanks to everyone and for all you do. Councilmember Boyer, any words?
I just also want to add on to that, you know, not only have you guys performed incredibly for this past year, saving us all in multiple ways, but you are also the future of healthcare in rural communities. I admire the Maryland Healthcare Commission. It's one of the things that's brought up repeatedly, and through the Rural Healthcare Commission report, saying that we should leverage our EMS in order to fit the need that we have and the gaps that we have in healthcare. So I look forward to you guys stepping up and taking us where we need to be to protect everybody who lives here in Havre de Grace. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to take this moment and introduce our president of the Havre de Grace Ambulance Corps, Mr. Ryan Nielsen. If you want to add anything to.
Sure, no, Mr. Mayor, City Council, appreciate the opportunity and thank you so much for this. We here are for the community and, you know, we do give our all, and I completely agree. It's been a challenging year with COVID and with all the changes and the changes that are coming up, you know, with the hospitals and EMS and volunteerism as a whole. So we are still here. We are stronger than ever. We'll continue to support the city of Havre Grace the best we can. And a shameless plug, our Food Truck Sunday started this past Sunday. So if you want to come up to the Havre Grace Ambulance Corps, please do so every Sunday from 4 to 8 p.m.
Also, I'd like to just say, this started back in 1974 under President Gerald Ford. And this is our 46th year of recognizing the work of our paramedics and our EMTs. My story is I'm pretty much administrative now because I was one of the first classes to obtain an EMT back in the early 70s when I joined the Havre Grace Ambulance Corps, which was then part of the American Legion here in Havre Grace. But there's always a job there for somebody, and we're always looking for good folks. And all the men and women tonight are enjoying a nice meal this late for the start of our EMS Recognition Week at the Corps right now. They're going to have a meeting. Mr. Ryan has to get back to it. We want to congratulate the newly elected members of the council here and all the rest of the council. Thank you very much for this. It means a lot. It means a lot. You've all been great partners with us, and we look forward to working with you some more.
Thank you, John.
My pleasure.
All right, stay safe, gentlemen.
All right, you all
Thank
be
you.
good. Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, John.
Okay, we're going to go to item 8 on the agenda, which is appointments. This evening, we have an appointment to the Economic Development Advisory Board, and I'm going to hand this off to Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, I make a motion to appoint Mr. Scott Elliott to the Economic Development Advisory Board.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson. Did I get a second?
Second.
Second by the Council President. Questions or comments on the appointment? Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to make a note that Mr. Elliott, while I don't know him personally, he comes recommended from Mike Allen from Hartford Bank. He's also an employee of Hartford Bank, and Hartford Bank has been a great partner to the city of Havre Grace. So I want to thank them, and I want to thank him for his willingness to serve.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Robertson. Any other questions or comments? For the appointment of Mr. Scott Elliott to the Economic Development Advisory Board, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Scott Elliott is appointed to the Economic Development Advisory Board. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Council. And we're going to move on to item number 9, where I get to administer the oath. Mr. Elliott. Thank you enough for being willing to volunteer your time.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you. It means a lot to us. It really does. We have a great team and of people already on the Economic Advisory Board, and Erica did a good job building up the team. So, like I say, we're happy to have you there, and we look forward to all the advice and help you can give us.
Thank you.
So, Scott, what I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I'm going to say the word I, and when I say the word I, repeat the word I, but also say your name, okay? I
Scott Elliott,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I'll fulfill the requirement
that I will fulfill the requirement
of the office I'm about to assume,
of the office I'm about to assume,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the office of the Constitution of the United States,
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance
that I, Scott Elliott, will faithfully bear allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
without fear of favor or prejudice,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as a member of
as a member of
the Havre Grace Economic Development Advisory Board
the Havre Grace Economic Advisory Board
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'd like to present you this, and everyone who steps up and serves the city receives a flag of our city, sir. That's great. That is yours, my friend. Terrific. Thank you again. Have a good evening. We do. Okay, let's get it quick. This right here is fine. Stand in front of this. Thanks, Nancy. Have a good evening. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to the next item on the agenda, item number 11. Recognitions, we have no recognitions this evening. Item 12, resolutions. Okay, we've got a resolution. It's going to be a counter resolution concerning an amendment to the MOU with the Sergeant Alfred Hilton Memorial Fund. And Council President, would you like to take that resolution?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to introduce a resolution concerning the amendment to the MOU with the Sergeant Alfred B. Hilton Memorial Fund Incorporated to change the location of the monument.
Second.
Okay, Council, I have a motion by Council President, seconded by Councilmember Ringsacher. This is a amendment to the resolution of the Alfred Hilton Memorial Fund, change the location of the monument. Questions or comments? Okay. I'm going to do a roll call on this one. Councilmember Zinner,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer,
Yes.
Councilmember Ringsacher,
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson,
Yes.
Council President Glenn.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative. Counter resolution concerning amendment to the resolution of the Sergeant Alfred B. Hilton Memorial Fund. Change of location is approved 6-0 in the affirmative. For those of you watching at home, the location was supposed to be at Tidings Park. A few issues came up, especially with underground utilities and the sheer weight of the memorial. The memorial is pretty substantial in size and weight. And rather than take on additional cost of relocating the utilities, we were actually able to find a really, well, what I feel is a great location right on the overlook at David Craig Park next to the American Legion. And the dedication was the ground break, well, we didn't break any ground because it's concrete, granite, but the location and the dedication ceremony was last Friday. So council is just catching up a little bit on amending the original resolution of the allocation of city land to the Memorial Fund. So, thank you, council. We're going to go to item B, ordinances. This evening we have 3 ordinances. And the first one's going to be is a second reading of a moratorium on issuance of permits and other administrative actions during pendency of litigation. And that second reading is going to be carried out by the council president.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I introduce for second reading ordinance 1051 concerning a moratorium on the issuance of permits and other administrative actions during the pendency of litigation.
Second.
A motion by council president, seconded by Councilman Ringsacher. This is a motion to introduce ordinance 1051 on second reading. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1051 on second reading carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Madam Secretary, would you mind reading the header of ordinance 1051 into the record?
Yes, thank you. An ordinance of the mayor and city council of Havre de Grace, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11-E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter, for the purpose of establishing a moratorium on the issuance of permits and other administrative action during the pendency of litigation.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1051 on second reading?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilman Ringstocker. Questions or comments? Council President?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of this legislation is to provide a viable mechanism which allows the city to pause any further action, such as the granting of permits or city approvals, on a temporary basis with respect to the party who is in current litigation with the city until such time that the matter can be resolved either by the courts or an agreed-upon settlement. This legislation is designed to ensure that premature actions are not taken until the litigation has been resolved.
Thank you, Council President. Any other questions or comments on ordinance 1051? Okay, I'll call the roll. Roll call vote, ordinance 1051 on second reading. Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Ringstocker.
Yes.
Council President Glenn.
Yes.
Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, ordinance 1051 is adopted by this council 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you, council. We'll move on to item B on ordinances, and that's going to be the tax rate for second reading. I'm going to hand that off to the chair of the Budget Finance Committee, Councilmember Robertson.
Tax man. Hey. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, fellow council members. I move to adopt on second reading ordinance number 1052 concerning the tax rates for fiscal year '22.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, second by Councilmember Martin. This is a motion to introduce on second reading ordinance 1052. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1052 on second reading carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Madam Secretary, could you please read the header into the record?
Yes. An ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, pursuant to the authority provided by the annotated Code of Maryland Tax Property Article, Title VI, and the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland fixing the tax rate for the fiscal year July 1, 2021 to June 30th, 2022, on each $100 of assessable real property, personal property, and providing an additional special tax levied within the critical area, special taxing district, and setting the service charge for the semi-annual property tax payment option.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Council, I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1052 on second reading.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Robertson and seconded by Councilmember Boyer. Questions or comments before we do the roll call vote? Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen here probably have heard this. I think this will be the third time, but I just want to reiterate to folks who might be tuning in this evening that the rates are remaining unchanged from last year.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Robertson. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Council, this is going to be roll call vote on ordinance 1052, second reading. Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Council President Glenn.
Yes.
Councilmember Ringsager.
Yes.
By a roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, ordinance 1052 concerning the fiscal year 2022 tax rate is adopted by council. Next ordinance concerning ordinance 1053, fiscal year 2022 water and sewer rates. I'll hand this off again to the Chair of the Budget Finance Committee, Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, I move to adopt on second reading ordinance number 1053 involving the water and sewer rates for FY '22.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Martin. This is a motion to introduce on second reading ordinance 1053. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce on second reading ordinance 1053 carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Madam Secretary, could you please read the header of ordinance 1053 into the record?
An ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace adopted pursuant to the Local Government Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland and the City Charter, Section 33 and 34, and the City Code, Chapter 196, and exhibit as thereto establishing the city water and sewer rates and service participation fees for the users of the city water and sewer system.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Council, I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1053 on second reading.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by Councilmember Boyer. This is a motion to adopt 1053, second reading. Questions or comments? Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, I would like to reiterate that the rates are remaining unchanged from current year to FY '22.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Robertson. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Roll call vote on 1053. Councilmember Ringsager.
Sir?
Roll call vote on 1053.
Yes.
Okay.
Apologize.
You weren't whispering over there.
I was actually handling something else about the closed session. Thank you.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
Council President Glenn.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, ordinance 1053 concerning the water and sewer rates for fiscal year 2022 is adopted by this council. Thank you very much. For a minute there, Councilmember Ringsager, you reminded me when I was a kid in school. Like, what? Huh?
Well, you never call upon me first. I wanted to make sure we're actually
Yeah, like,
handling
I got
stuff
you.
about the
Like,
closed session.
A
so
flashback. I was like, I feel your pain.
Just answer wrong, they'll move on. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you very much. Those conclude the ordinances for this evening. We're going to go to item 13, which is old business. We have no old business this evening, which takes us to item 14, which is a motion to adjourn sine die, which is the end of this council session for 2020-2021, which has been quite a remarkable, different kind of council legislative session. But if somebody wants to give me a motion to approve the adjournment, we'll start it now.
So moved.
Okay, I'll take Councilmember Ringsager and seconded by Council President Glenn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. By a vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, legislative session for the City of Havre de Grace 2020-2021 is now concluded. Thank you. What do you want to do now?
Whatever your pleasure is.
Okay, all right. Well, okay, we are going to administer the oath of office for the office of mayor and 3 council member positions. So I will go ahead and calm myself down, I guess.
She's back in your office.
Okay.
So
Has to be one of the council members. Be a council member takes it. Okay.
That's what we were discussing.
I'm sorry, I have a family somewhere. I'm not sure.
Well, there's a delay on the YouTube.
They're malls.
So you were led to believe.
All right. Thank you for being here this evening.
Hello.
Multitasking.
Murphy. You can learn a lot in the principal's office, and I can attest to that from my own personal.
Here she is.
There she goes.
It's like she's never been in council chambers before.
Okay. All right. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for calling in.
Sorry. Doing double duty.
Ready? This is a directional microphone.
Just come over here, Remy.
Is the red light supposed to be on?
Yes.
All right, red light. Okay. Is that right, red light? Okay, so, stand there, Judge.
All right.
Ready?
Sir. Right hand and repeat after me, sir. I, William T. Martin,
I, William T. Martin,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will fulfill the requirement of the office
that I will fulfill the requirement of the office
I am about to assume,
I'm about to assume,
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
that I will faithfully and impartially,
without fear of favor
without fear of favor
or prejudice,
or prejudice, discharge
the duties
the duties
as mayor for the city of Havre Grace
as mayor of the city of Havre Grace
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much. Ready for a picture?
How do Will get so tall?
I don't know. That happened overnight.
I know.
Don't go anywhere. This is the final order. What's that? Stay there, stay there, stay there. Now I'm gonna let you open it up. this out. Sir. All right. Let's see, you ready for this?
Sure.
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Jason Robertson,
I, Jason Robertson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will fulfill
that I will fulfill
the requirement of the office
the requirement of the office
I am about to assume,
I'm about to assume,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and the laws thereof,
and that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
and impartially, without fear of favor or prejudice, discharge the duties as a city council member for the city of Havre Grace,
to the best of my ability. Thanks, sir.
Yeah.
Everybody stand with you, Jason?
Okay, ready?
Yes, sir.
I, David Martin,
I, David Martin,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will fulfill the requirements
that I will fulfill the requirements
of the office
of the office
I am about to assume,
I'm about to assume,
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
without fear of favor
or prejudice,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as a city council member
as a city council member
for the city of Havre Grace
for the city of Havre Grace
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Your Honor.
David. Dave.
Dave, you got to sign, bud.
Too late now.
repeat after me. I, Carolyn Zinner,
I, Carolyn Zinner,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will fulfill the requirement
that I shall fulfill the requirement
of the office
of the office
I'm about to assume,
I'm about to assume,
that I will support the Constitution
that I shall support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially, without fear of favor
without fear of favor
or
or
prejudice,
prejudice,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as a city council member
as a city council member
for the city of Havre de Grace
for the city of Havre de Grace
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job, Carolyn. Thank you.
I call to order 2021-2022 legislative session for the Havre de Grace Mayor and City Council. I'm going to call the roll, Council. Councilmember Glenn.
Here.
Councilmember Zinner.
Here.
Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson. Here. Councilmember Ringsacker.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
With all council members present and accounted for, I would like to get a motion for this council to move into closed session for the purpose of the selection of a council president.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Glenn, second by Councilmember Ringsacker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to move into closed session for the purpose of selecting a council president carries 6-0 in the affirmative. The time is now 7:52, and we will adjourn this meeting until the selection is made. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to reconvene from the council's closed session for the selection of a council president. The time is now 8:58 p.m. I will call the roll to make sure everybody's here. Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Ringsager.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson. Here. Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Zinner.
Here.
Councilmember Glenn. All council members are present and counted for. Item number 20, motion for the selection of a council president. May I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Ringsager.
I make a motion to nominate, select Dave Glenn for president of the Havre Grace City Council.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Ringsager for the nomination of Councilmember Glenn, seconded by Councilmember Martin. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion to approve Councilmember Dave Glenn as the City Council President for the 2021-2022 Council Legislative Session is approved. 6-0 in the affirmative. Congratulations, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I just want to thank my fellow council members for having the confidence in me to move us forward into next year. This past year's been very challenging, and I told them in the closed session that it was very rewarding that we met the challenges of COVID and all the challenges it brought with us, and I thought that we led by example, and I thanked them for their support.
Thank you very much, Council President. We're going to item number 21, special events, and we have a couple special events to be approved. We're going to hand this off to the Director of Administration, Mr. Seipold.
Good evening, Mayor, and thank you. Good evening, Council, and good evening, citizens. The first special event for your consideration this evening is the Ernest Burke statue unveiling. The unveiling is sponsored by the Ernest Burke Committee, which is a member of the Community Projects of Havre Grace. This is a one-day event which would occur on June 26th from 1 p.m. until 3 at the Millard E. Tidings Memorial Park. They request setup to begin at 11 a.m. They would clean up immediately following the event. They anticipate approximately 125 attendees, and they request no parking along Commerce Street fronting the park to provide additional handicap and dignitary parking. The Public Works expense for this is $271.38 to maintain the bathroom facilities, trash receptacles, setup, and breakdown. There are no expenses for the police department.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seipold. Council, to have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Martin, seconded by Councilman Ringsager. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The Ernest Burke statue unveiling for June 26, 2021, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Tidings Memorial Park is approved by Council 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you very much, council members.
The next event for your consideration is the Children's Art Festival. The Children's Art Festival is sponsored by the Havre Grace Arts Commission. This is a one-day event occurring on September 11th, 2021, from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Millard E. Tidings Memorial Park. They're requesting setup to begin at 8 a.m. on the same day, and they'll clean up immediately following the event. Their anticipated attendance is 350, and they request no parking on a portion of Commerce Street fronting the park to allow for animal trailers and trucks for their little petting zoo that they set up. The Public Works expense for this is $292.25, and there is no expense for the police department.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seipold. Council, I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Martin, seconded by Councilmember Zinner. This is a motion to approve the Children's Art Festival. All those questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Children's Art Festival for September 11, 2021, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Tynes Memorial Park is approved by council 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you very much, council. We're going to move on to item 22, director's reports. And we will start off with the Director of Administration, Mr. Patrick Seipold.
Thanks again, Mayor, and thanks, Council. First of all, for supporting those last two events on behalf of those sponsors. I'm sure they're very happy with your responses and permitting those special events to move forward. A little bit of housekeeping. City Hall will be closed on Monday, May 31st, in observance of Memorial Day. City Hall will reopen on Tuesday, June the 1st at 8 a.m. On Monday, the 31st of May, the Joseph L. Davis Post 47 American Legion cordially invites you to join them in honoring all the men and women veterans that have gone before us. The first ceremony will be at 9 a.m. at Angel Hill Cemetery. The second ceremony will be at the Millard E. Tidings Memorial Park and will begin at 11 a.m. On Friday, June 4th, we're going to try it again. It's that extra long-awaited return of First Fridays. It's back in Havre, Grace. Enjoy a family-friendly festival celebration on closed downtown streets. There will be live bands, cafe seating, and many restaurants, food trucks, merchandise vendors, store specials, a classic car show, and more. This epic event begins at 5 p.m., and it will happen this year. June the 4th. Also beginning on June 4th and continuing on Saturday, June 5th, it's the Havre Grace Jazz and Blues Fest. Performers will be located on Pennington Avenue during First Fridays and also at Concord Point Park and the State Theater. On Saturday, the Jazz Fest continues at Concord Point. Please visit our Explore Havre Grace website for all the details. It's an event you don't want to miss. And then, let's see. We have on Friday, June 4th, Havre Grace Arts Commission begins their Friday Concerts in the Park series with Out of Time. It's a wonderful group featuring music from the 60s and 70s. Their concert series begins at 7:30. See, every Sunday through till September, the Havre Grace Ambulance Corps invites you to come visit their food truck Sundays at the Ambulance Corps Pavilion right off Route 155. They'll be featuring between 5 to 7 food trucks each week. Rain or shine, music will also be provided. And the farmers market continues in fine fashion at Hutchins Park. They're open every Saturday, rain or shine, from now until mid-December. The market opens at 8:30 a.m. and runs until noon. And if you missed any of the information I just spoke of, and for a complete listing of events, which I didn't cover tonight, given the length of time here the meeting is running into, please visit our websites. The town has opened up. The masks are off. Visit our sites at havregrace.com, explorehavregrace.com, and hdgoperahouse.org. And that's all I'd like to say tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seipold. Appreciate the update. We're going to move on to Mr. Shane Grimm, the Director of Planning for City of Havre Grace. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Good evening, citizens. The much-anticipated submission of the Green Property first preliminary subdivision plan has come into the city. It is known as Scion Hill Estates. We are currently reviewing that plan, and there's an anticipated Planning Commission date of June 14th, Monday, June 14th, at 7 p.m. in these council chambers. I would ask that citizens pay attention to our website. Depending on how many folks we may see come out that evening, we may have to move to the Opera House. So we're going to play that by ear, but right now we're tentatively scheduled for June 14th. The subdivision is known as Scion Hill Estates, and it will be 140 units on approximately 40 acres, and that will be the first phase of the Scion Hill Estates project. And that's all I have right now. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Grimm, thank you very much for the update. Let's go to Ms. Erica Quisenberry-Sturgill, Director of Economic Development.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. So there's a property that you may all be aware of. That's a 25,000 square foot former Pabst warehouse at 121 St. John Street. It's been on the market for 4 years. During that time, it's had a great deal of interest, everything from a hotel to a brewery, a collective kitchen restaurant concept, automobile lot, factory, indoor shooting range, a wine and art conglomerate. This week, a letter of intent has been signed and sent to the owners of the property for a very unexpected and so cool it has to be a Havre Grace business. The company, who will be making immediate upgrades and very needed renovations to the structure upon receipt of permits, is Von Mercier. And their vision is to bring imagined vehicles to life. Their vehicles are futuristic and designed to enhance exploration, transportation, and recreation. They blend cutting-edge hovercraft and hybrid electric vehicle innovation with a luxury high-performance technology and have thus developed the world's first luxury sports hovercraft. The vehicles have off-road capability, air-cushioned hovering to seamlessly transition from land to water, and an advanced directional control system allowing operators to stop and go with ease and travel in all directions in the city of Havre de Grace and on our water. The other property I'd like to tell you about is that Havre de Grace Economic Development and other departments will be meeting with a company based out of Newnham, Georgia, who are flying in on Wednesday to discuss taking over the building at 1900 Clark Road, Havre de Grace, which is in our industrial park. The property was formerly used by Dart Container and Sun Products, with very heavy truck traffic for warehousing and shipping of goods, with 101 dock high doors and 97 trailer spaces. The company we're meeting with on Wednesday plans to install a rail spur to connect to Norfolk Southern for efficient transport. A manufacturer of soft goods and products for the automotive, maritime, residential, and commercial products sector, their comprehensive business plans will initially bring 150 to 250 direct jobs to Havre de Grace in first-year operations, and the company has a goal of bringing over 350 jobs to Havre de Grace with a 2-work shift workday within 36 months of opening their doors. And these are the projects we're working on this week in the Havre de Grace Office of Economic Development.
Wow.
I can ask Ms. Quisenberry, do those hovercraft come in duck camo?
They actually do special orders in Havre de Grace.
Nice.
And what
X4
about
HD, that's my
police
pattern.
equipment? Are they certified for police use?
They're actually creating hovercraft that could be used for fire, ambo, and police situations.
There you go, Chief.
Councilman Robertson?
Erica, when is your last day?
My last day is May 28th.
So this is your last meeting.
This is my last meeting.
Can we all just collectively say how much we appreciate everything you've done for the city of Havre de Grace? I know since you've become director, all of those storefronts are full down there, and you've taken up a lot more tasks than I think, typically would have come with your role in helping the volunteer organizations and all. So can we all just give her one more round of applause and a thank you very much?
Thank you. Totally unnecessary, but very much
It goes without
appreciated.
saying, you're going to be sorely missed.
Yeah.
Thank you,
leave
CP.
Big shoes to
Appreciate
be
it.
filled.
And that, sirs, what I have for tonight. That's the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say.
Thank you, Erica. Well done. We're going to go to George Horty, Director of Finance.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. That's going to be a tough act to follow. First of all, I'd be remiss, even though it was last session's doing. Sorry. Even though it was last session's doing, I want to appreciate the approval of the tax rates and the water and sewer rates. It helps establish the basis for what we intend to accomplish next year, so thank you. Now for the current financial condition. The general fund, the fund balance is sitting just under $4 million, which is just under $2 million ahead of where we thought we'd be at this point. As always, the beginning balance started about $1.25 million above where we thought. Salaries and benefits have been about $1.1 million below budget. Income tax receipts are unfortunately falling now to about $520,000 behind schedule. We did get a carryover, finally got a grant payment from last year, which we didn't anticipate when we were going to get it. So grants are running about $180,000 over budget. Real property tax billings are running about $120,000 over budget, which is consistent and continuing. That's good. We've had a great reduction in interest. As any of you know who've got investments, this has not been a good year for investment returns. And we're running about $80,000 behind where we thought we'd be when we crafted the budget. It's a different world right now. And the user fees continue to fall about $60,000 behind schedule, which is what the State Highway Administration has told us they would be. Moving on to the Water Sewer Fund, we currently sit at a positive fund balance of $280,000. It has decreased to about $25,000 for the year, so we're running just below break even. Our operating profit is $2.17 million. To that, we've collected $2.5 million in capital connection fees and the like. Mr. Grimm, nicely done. And we have spent $4.7 million between debt service and capital projects to account for the decrease. The Marina Fund, the balance is sitting just under $1 million. It has increased about $170,000 for the year. That's about $50,000 below where we were last year, but that can be attributed to the $50,000 we just put down on deposits for the capital projects that you guys just approved a couple of meetings ago. So we're really running pretty much operationally as we have been in the prior year. And that's my report for the three major funds this evening, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George. Thanks for the update. We're going to go to Mr. Tim Whitty, who is the Director of Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just two things. This Saturday, May 22nd, between 8 and 12 noon, we're going to have dumpster day. It'll be on Bloomsbury and Seneca, is where the line will form. We'll have several, I guess, about 15 dumpsters there. There is a poster on our webpage. We'd ask you to take a look at it. It'll tell you what we're collecting. It'll also tell you what we won't be collecting, like mattresses. There won't be any yard waste. There'll be, and certain electronics will not be accepted. So please, before you come, make sure you check the webpage to make sure what you bring in doesn't get rejected. And then the second thing I'd like to talk about is we do have Stephanie's works with the Hartford Streams and Summer Adventure, and there's going to be a poker run. It'll also be on Saturday, May 22nd, from 12:30 to 4 p.m. The registration will be at Frank Hutchins Park, which is at 100 Congress Avenue. So it's an opportunity to, there's prizes to be won, things like that. It's actually a pretty nice event. Actually, there's a chance to win a Yeti Rody 24 hard cooler. So please, we ask everybody to bring your kids down, come on down to Havre de Grace and check it out. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Woody. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I just wanted to let everybody know that the Special Olympics Maryland Torch Run actually is going to be actually Tuesday, June the 8th, and we're going to start at 8 a.m. at the Lock House. So if anybody is interested, you're more than welcome to come on out. Encourage the runners. If you want to run, you're more than welcome to do that. You can also purchase T-shirts, hats, anything like that, anything to support our runners as well as our Special Olympic athletes. The route that we'll be taking is we will be leaving the Lock House, go to Water Street, to Union Avenue, make a right onto Revolution Street, a right onto Lewis Lane, passing the high school, middle school, and then a left to westbound Route 40 towards Aberdeen Belcamp. So even if you just want to stand along the route and just cheer on our racers, or excuse me, our runners, you're more than welcome to do that. And I know that they will definitely like to see your support. The other thing, Mayor, I don't think I mentioned it at our last meeting, but I just wanted to give the totals as far as poundage for the drug take-back that we had on April the 24th. For the county as a whole, I think people did a great job. We collected over 2,850 pounds of pharmaceuticals that people were not using, and which is great because that isn't in the hands of somebody who doesn't need to have it, and it's also not ruining our environment. So I thank the citizens of Harford County. For Havre Grace, we collected a little over 425 pounds. So again, thank you very much to everybody that turned things in. And finally, I just want to let people know that once our special events begin, which they already have, our auxiliary officers will also be out there working and helping us, and also helping our citizens if they have any questions or concerns. If you see one of our auxiliary officers, you're more than welcome to talk with them. And they were planning for the first Fridays, so hopefully they will be at the June 1st Fridays. We had them at Defenders Day. We also actually helped the Susquehanna Hose Company when they were doing the COVID-19 vaccination shots on the house on Revolution Street. We were helping with traffic direction and control there. So once again, if you see our auxiliary officers, feel free to talk with them. They're good folks. We really do appreciate having them. So that will be my report, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Chief. Appreciate it. Thank you. We're going to go to item 23, business from the mayor. Start off with just a couple congratulatory remarks. I wish to congratulate Councilmember Zinner, Councilmember Robertson, and Councilmember Martin on your election victory. It's been an honor serving with all of you. You're good council members. You work hard to represent the people about as honestly as I've ever known anybody to do so. So it's going to be a privilege working with you for another 2 years. Good luck to you guys next year. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Everybody on council is doing a great job. Also want to convey my highest regards to Rich Wayner and Tammy Schnegas, who both ran a terrific campaign. I've seen a lot of different elections in my 13 years, paying close attention to Havre Grace elections, and I couldn't be more proud of the process now. The civility among everyone, the encouragement. In case you can't see on camera, both Rich and Tammy are here in the audience, to congratulate the three incumbents who won, and I know that they will stay involved. They're already involved in city commissions, so the future looks strong for our democracy. There's people willing to step up and step in. And again, I just want to reinstate what an honor and privilege is to work with all 6 council members up here. And not a day goes by that I don't appreciate it. I never take it for granted that, the citizens put such a good group of people up on this dais that care so much about the citizens, and you guys do. Not one elected official up here, I can say, has any hidden agenda, any ulterior motives. No one's trying to angle anything. Nobody talks about partisan politics. Nobody, is trying to do anything behind anybody's back. I mean, ladies and gentlemen sitting at home, what you see is what you get. These are Havre Grace citizens that the only thing they're doing up here is serving the public. And it's an honor and a privilege. 13 years ago, I was painting a room in my house, and my sister calls me up. And it was the third weekend in March. And there was a city election coming up in 2000. It was 2008. And she calls me up and says, "Hey, baby brother." I said, "What's up, Mary?" And she says, "You should run for city council." I said, "For what?" And she's like, and I was only living in Havre Grace maybe 10 years at the time, and I had a wife and 3 little kids at the time. And she said, "Well, there's an election coming up, and there's only 2 days left to file, and 2 incumbents are not running. Only 1 incumbent." And she said, "Nobody filed to run with only 2 days left." And she said, "You teach government. I know you always, I was the treasurer of the Lock House at the time, so I was kind of involved with things going on in the city." So I thought about it. I thought I should ask my wife first. So I did, and we talked to her about it. I said, "Well, I love Havre Grace, and I've met a lot of fun people being on the Lock House, and I talked to my students on Monday. I asked my students, I said, what do you think if Mr. Martin ran for council? Yeah, you know, that kind of stuff. They can't vote for me anyway, it's Aberdeen. But, and so I filed at Monday afternoon, like 4 o'clock. First time I ever walked into City Hall. And this guy named Jim Newby comes out and grabs my application. He was a nice guy, and we all know Jim Newby. And so that was it. And so there was 2 people running for 3 seats. I thought I had a good chance. And by the end of the next day, when the filing deadline ended, there was 8 people running. So I learned quick, you know, I wasn't the only one that was following the election. So I called my sister up. I said, what'd you get me into? So I guess you got to run an election now. So I ran an election, and I don't know how it happened, but I ended up coming second. And that was 13 years ago. And I didn't know what I was doing. Nobody does really, you know. It's how our system's designed. Our democracy is designed where an average citizen hopefully steps up and takes part in the process, because that's how our government works. I mean, the real professionals are sitting on the wings here. The real people that run the government are the directors and, you know, the administrators. But the way it works is it's us, the people of Havre de Grace, that step up and they run, and they wish to serve their fellow citizens. And without that, and this is any town USA, without that, our democracy doesn't work. And so I never saw myself here 13 years later, 13 years to the night. I remember I was only on council for like 2 years, and the previous mayor said, when are you going to run for council president? I'm like, I don't want to run for council president. That looks too hard. You know, I was just like, and it's just how funny how things just step up. And then, you know, in 7 years on council, I had a long talk with my wife, and I said, you know, I feel like I've done everything I can on council, and I think I want to make the next step and run for mayor. And if that doesn't work out, then it was a good run. I did my part. I did my bit, you know, as a citizen. And here I am. I finished in 6 years as the mayor of the greatest city I've ever been in my life. Havre de Grace is a special place, and it's the greatest motivating factor, and I know the council members here, and I bet even my directors, the greatest motivating factor to do well is the quality of our citizens is just phenomenal. They're different. And I say this because I look back over the last 6 years that I've been mayor, and we've thrown a lot of things on their plate. Some things we weren't just quite sure how it would end up. Like, once you're in this office and you get the 50,000-foot view, the 10,000-foot view, and then you get the eye-level view of how the government operates and what the needs are and what the future needs are. You know, you know what it takes to fix it, but sometimes you wonder if the will's there to do it. And, you know, of course, you've heard us say again and again, water and sewer, major issues. You know, 100-year-old pipes, more than 100-year-old pipes, water plant or wastewater treatment plant, you know, debt, service, it can go on and on. You know, I wasn't even in office a year, and we did a referendum for $2.5 million to fix up the water plant. At the same time, we asked for several $1 million for the Opera House to be renovated. All those approved. We bought Water Street property from the county, which we shouldn't have. They should have given it to us, but anyway, take that up with Billy and Barry. But anyway, the citizens approved that, which was okay, so we got Water Street. And then when we really just knew that we had to do something with the water and sewer, and just putting a Band-Aid on it year after year after year would get us nowhere, we threw that $15 million bond bill out last February of 2020, and the citizens showed up on a special election. It was a special election. It was not a May election, and overwhelmingly improved it. And so I give the citizens the credit, you know, for believing in us, because, you know, the political climate we're in right now, you know, I don't think a whole lot of American citizens have faith in any politician, to tell you the truth. You know, politics is a very scattered business right now, and everybody's got their home team that they cheer for, and you hate the other team. But, you know, it's just the fact that the Havre de Grace citizens, they follow what's going on, and then they put the faith and trust into the people that they elected. And without that, nothing is possible. And so I think one thing I want to say after completing 6 years in this seat is thank you to the citizens of Havre de Grace, not just for believing in me, but for believing in all of us up here, that when we turn around and say to you, okay, you elected us, we put the team together. This is the team right here. It's the council, it's the directors, and I got an excellent team. I got the best, okay? And when we tell you this is how it's going to go, you believe in us. And without that support, you know, Abraham Lincoln said it best. Abraham Lincoln once said, public perception is everything, or public support is everything, he said. With it, everything's possible. Without it, nothing succeeds. So we're here today to say that 2021, 2022 is going to be a great year. I'm here to say the next 3 years are going to be awesome. We got a lot of great things coming. We got a lot of good changes. And you all know me by now. If you don't know me after 15 years, well, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's a lot, people have been, you know me. I'm not perfect. I know I know no one has agreed with everything I've done. I'm assuming most of you agree with most of what I've done. But one thing you'll always get with me is you'll always get the straight answer with me. If I know the information, I'll tell you. And no one intimidates me. I'm not here because I'm trying to get to a higher office. I'm not hedging my bet. I'm not trying to walk the middle of the road on the safe vote or the safe law or the safe decision. I'm here for one reason, and that is to serve the citizens of Havre de Grace, Maryland. There's no ulterior motives, no higher office, and I don't get intimidated by anybody, and not even social media. Social media is a joke to me. I could care less. Nothing makes me make my decision more than what I believe in my heart is to be the right thing for the citizens of Havre de Grace. Moving forward, we got a lot of successes under our belt. We've solved a lot of issues. Water and Sewer Fund is finally doing well. You know, we've worked out issues with Bully Rock development. We've done amazing things with economic development. And to that extent, I was going to talk about Erica Quisenberry's last day, May 28th, but kind of mentioned that already. And Erica, you and I have, you know, since 2015, 16, been scratching together some ideas on how to make Havre de Grace shine, you know, and it's been a long road, and we've done amazing things, amazing successes together. I can't think of any town in this area of Maryland that is hot as Havre de Grace, Maryland. Actually, anywhere in Maryland, to tell you the truth. I mean, we're where people want to be. People are moving from far away to live here. You know, I'm going to say it on TV. People are moving from Bel Air to Havre de Grace.
That's hard.
I got a lot of friends in Bel Air anyway, but and I'm telling you, Erica, a lot of that, you know, I credit to all the work you've done at your Economic Development Office. And like I said, I don't know who's going to fill your shoes, but, you know, 5.5 years, right? You've been with us. I mean, it's been an amazing trip. You know, it's been great. But we have our challenges, and one challenge I want to bring up right now is one that concerns me very deeply, and that is this new legislation that took place in Annapolis regarding law enforcement officers. Now, once you got, and I scripted a couple things together because I want to get this right. I don't want to, because it's kind of complicated. Give me about a minute to read this, and I want you guys to pay attention, especially people at home. Listen up. And Dave Anderson from the Record. Everybody knows that during the last session of the Maryland General Assembly, the legislature in Maryland proposed several bills regarding the topic of police reform. 4 of those bills passed: House Bill 670, Senate Bill 71, Senate Bill 178, and Senate Bill 600. The bills that passed are problematic for several reasons. However, the issue of the repeal of the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Right in particular is of great concern, is predicated to lead to an exodus of police officers locally and throughout the state of Maryland. Under House Bill 670, the General Assembly repealed the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights and replaced it with a new section of law known as Police Accountability and Discipline. It's important to understand that the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights is used by law enforcement leadership as a management tool, a tool that standardizes disciplinary procedures across the state. It's also important to note that Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights does not provide qualified immunity to police officers. I feel that the repeal of this law is problematic because it prevents police leadership from being able to discipline law enforcement officers and prevents leadership from maintaining order among the ranks. Under the new law, the discipline of police officers will be subjected to a confusing, unclear, bureaucratic maze. In addition, it removes the chief of police from having any say in how officers receive their discipline. The city is not opposed to making improvements to law enforcement. However, the unclear manner that the law was written and the way our lawmakers achieve a final product through last-minute amendments, which gave lawmakers and the public little to no time to review amendments, should be a great matter of concern for all Marylanders. It is very difficult and frustrating when the General Assembly passes a law that is so ambiguous. We don't know what to tell our law enforcement officers, nor do we know what the future of law enforcement looks like. This creates a lot of confusion and anxiety for men and women who work every day to protect us. We are 3 police officers down, correct, Chief? Just recently, we received our 3rd vacancy from a great officer, and all these officers are leaving, not for higher pay somewhere else. They're leaving the profession. It's one thing if, we can't compete sometimes with big state agencies and pay, but these officers aren't leaving for that. They're leaving because they're getting out of law enforcement. That's insane. Think about the passion that a man or a woman must have to want to be an officer to begin with. That passion where you want to help, where you make a difference. And then think about how royally screwed up these legislatures in Annapolis made everything, that they take good men and women that just want to leave. I mean, think about what officers put up with. 2 o'clock in the morning, domestic violent calls, drunk driving calls at 6 in the morning, knife fights. That doesn't make them leave. They're ready for the next day to go back and do it again. It takes people in Annapolis on their phones looking at social media while they're trying to make amendments. Yeah, I heard that from some senators. Every amendment that came up, they're trying to figure out what social media says about it. That's who we elected in Annapolis to make our laws. So the people in Annapolis that make laws have no support for the people that enforce the laws. And if you think it's just a headline or a soundbite on Channel 11 News, I'm here to tell you it's right here in the city of Havre de Grace, because what they do in Annapolis affects my ability to keep this one of the safest towns in the state of Maryland. And if you don't want more problems, we have to recruit good officers. And I've told you before, the chief and I don't pick bad officers. And it's hard to find sometimes good officers, especially when nobody wants to be a police officer. All this defund the police stuff, it's a bunch of crap. Every profession in the world has good people, and it has some people that maybe need a little help, discipline, or maybe some removal. You got a bad school, get a better principal. You got a bad police department, get a good chief. You got a bad city, get a better mayor. You don't just stop paying people because you don't like how they're acting. You don't not give them the tools to do their job. This world's gotten crazy over this whole stuff. Like I said, you know me, I don't normally get involved in outside politics in my city. I keep my mouth shut because I'm everybody's mayor. But I'm telling you right now, when it affects my ability to put uniformed officers on the street, good ones, that's when I'm starting to say, you know what, everybody, you need to wake up, you need to pay attention to who's voting for what in Annapolis, because those decisions have consequences. These people in Annapolis might be looking for that quick little, look what I did on social media to get me elected again. In municipalities around the state of Maryland, we're the ones dealing with this stuff. It's not easy to fill. So, again, I'm not trying to sound doom and gloom on, you know, a happy inauguration speech for my 4th term here. But I'm told we have challenges. And this is one of the challenges we have. And it's not even self-inflicted. I'm dealing with other people's stuff. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't even have a problem. We would just have great police officers and everything. So, again, it's a shame when the hardest challenges you have come from the people you vote to take care of you. Isn't that something wrong with that? So, again, these aren't unsurmountable challenges. These are just things that are going to take some work. Because, again, we hire the best. Okay, that's what we do. We run as a well-oiled machine because we hire good people, good officers, good employees, good directors. But like I said, so I want everybody to think about that. Follow the news, follow what's going on, and, you know, elections have consequences. They do. Make sure you know who you're voting for. I mean, but anyway. So I'm going to wrap things up here real quick and just say that I look forward to serving for the next 3 years. We got some good stuff going on. A lot of good things coming our way. We're spending that $15 million bond money and fixing up the water and sewer infrastructure. I know you've heard me mention before, we got about roughly $11.7 million coming our way from the federal government that we can allocate on, you know, various things. I'm not really quite sure yet. The rules change daily on what we can spend the money on, but as soon as we know, we'll let you know. But anyway, thank you very much, citizens of Havre de Grace, for your support and myself, this council. We're going to give it to you straight, as we always do. We're going to keep Havre de Grace honest. We're going to keep Havre de Grace free. We're going to keep it an inclusive city. And it's going to grow and it's going to thrive. And I'm honored and privileged to have the opportunity to help you. With that, go for business from the council. Councilmember Ringsager.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I always hate being the first one to speak after the mayor's comments because they're awful hard to follow. As for your comments about the city, ditto. I love Havre de Grace. Great place to be. I chose to move here. I chose to be a resident of Havre de Grace when I was 16. And I've lived all over the world. I've never in my life lived somewhere better than this. So it's an honor and a pleasure to be here. And it's an honor and a pleasure to serve with our re-elected council members and mayor. And I look forward to serving with you as you being council president this coming year. It's awesome being in our actual seats. If I look uncomfortable tonight, it's because I think I need a degree in engineering to figure the chair out. But I'll work on that, don't worry. You know, I'm a poli-sci guy, not a math guy, so we'll figure something out. There are 3 levers. I don't even know what the third seashell does, but some of you get that joke. See, Rich laughed. The Wage and Benefits Commission for this Wednesday, we're going to move it a week to the 26th. I spoke with Adam. He'll get the agenda and we'll put it up on the website. Just an issue with a subcommittee. We're working on another issue, trying to work on some pay scales and a few other things. May is Motorcycle Awareness Month, so please look twice, save a life. Make sure you tell all the deer and livestock out there on the road to don't be in the roadway. Like I said, just look twice, save a life. Most motorcycle accidents are attributable to 2 things: speed, the motorcyclist or the car, or cars turning left without looking. Because most motorcycles only have 1 headlight. You see it far off, and most people, when you see 1 headlight far off, you're assuming that it's 2 headlights that are closer together, way far off. And it's tough to judge that distance when it's closing that fast. And so they'll make that left turn in front of a motorcyclist. So most motorcycle accidents, where it's car versus motorcycle, are left-turning drivers of cars into motorcyclist path. So please look twice. Make sure you're keeping people safe out there. And with that, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, Councilmember Ringsager. Good evening, Councilmember Boyer.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Mayor, and congratulations to all other members of the council for your reelection. It's a pleasure to work with you, and look forward to working with you more for the next 2 years, or at least next year for me. We'll see what goes from there. So the Green Team has their annual meeting on May 26th at 7 p.m. It will be a Zoom meeting. And it's a great opportunity to hear about all the great things that they're doing and help chime in for things that you'd like them to work on in the next year. I want to also jump on to what the mayor said in regards to HB 670. Thank you very much for inviting me to that very informative panel or discussion about the bill. There's a lot of things in it that are very concerning. My husband is a police officer, and it's something that that we talk about on a daily basis. He wanted to be a police officer from the time he was a child. He never thought about being anything else but a police officer. And now he's, after a 30-year career where he never missed a day of work, never missed a sick day of work, he's considering, like, what is the future for him? And it's kind of sad when you think it's something that it's all he ever wanted to be. And now he's really questioning, is this the right decision? He just received a medal this week for saving a woman's life. During COVID, there was a car pulled over on 695. A young man had this girl out on the ground. She was blue. He pulled over with, he was riding with another police officer. They pulled over, got out, started CPR, and saved her life without consideration of COVID or anything. They knew that that's what needed to be done at the time, and that's what they did, and he saved her life, and he just got accommodation for that. So, you know, we ask a lot of these police officers, and the question is, what do they ask of us? And they ask us simply to support them. So I know that there's a lot that needs to be done, and hopefully our elected officials have the backs to be able to stand up to their leadership and tell them that we heard from our elected officials, and we've heard from our police officers, and we've heard from our community that this is not good enough, and that you need to go back and figure it out and make it right. And we all have a couple of months to get this done before they go back into session, and I think it's really important that we each get educated on what was passed, figure out what we need to do to step up, and help them make the hard decision, which is they're going to have to stand up to their leadership and say we need to fix it. I would like all of the police officers to know that we in Havre de Grace are very lucky to have them as our public servants. They care very much about the city, and they care very much about everybody who lives here. And for that, we're blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Boyer. Good evening, Councilmember Zinner.
Good evening, everyone, Mr. Mayor, Council. I just wanted to make a comment about the election, just for those who came out and exercised their constitutional right to vote and their civic responsibility to vote. It was a low turnout election, but some of us look at the fact that you were most likely pleased with the way the city is running. So I'll take that as a compliment and share it with my fellow council members. And I did not have an opportunity, though I was invited to go to that discussion on Wednesday, but I'll look forward to the chief filling me in. I have a brother that's now a retired police officer. He had mandatory retirement on October 18th, 2020, I think that year was. Between COVID and everything else, it's hard to say, one year ran into the other. But he, like Councilmember Boyer's husband, only ever wanted to be a police officer. So he got his dream, and he worked until retirement, and he's quite relieved that he's no longer doing that. So it's taken its toll in terms of the way policing has changed over time. And actually, even during COVID, they didn't even do traffic stops. They were just told to emergencies only, and stay as safe as possible so as not to get infected. But so his career is now over, and he'll be looking for some other work now. But again, I want to thank everyone who came out for the election, and I'm honored to be reelected as your congresswoman. Congresswoman, oh God, I don't want to go there, believe me. No, I don't want to. Councilwoman.
Trying to get a promotion.
No, not that kind of promotion, no. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, distinguished lady from Bully Rock. We're going to move on to Councilmember Robertson. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, city staff, ladies and gentlemen here and at home. There will be no Budget and Finance Committee meeting tomorrow. I shared that with a couple of the directors, but I'm actually on orders the next couple of weeks with the Army, so we're going to be getting done kind of late in the evening, so I can't do that. The Economic Development Advisory Board will be meeting this Wednesday. Erica, do you know if that's online, or is that going to be here?
It's going to be in council chambers in
Okay.
person.
Roger that. Thank you. There's some good news with your local American Legion. So last week, the Post was able to make its final mortgage payment, and we were able to pay off a few months early to the Department of Maryland's American Legion, in spite of being closed for 3 months last year because of COVID. So that was big news. Big things are going on there. We've also received some help from our delegation. So a big thank you to Robert Castley, Mary Ann Lasanti, and Steve Johnson for helping get some bond funding to rebuild the wharf down there. So that's big. Thank you for that. To the citizens of Havre de Grace, I thank you for your support. I asked you for another term, and you so graciously granted me that, so I appreciate it. I promise I'm going to work hard for you, work harder than I have, and hopefully, you'll feel that your trust was well placed. My fellow council members that are sitting beside me, I want to congratulate them on their reelection. Also to Tammy and Rich, you guys are A-plus people. It takes a lot of guts, and it's certainly a mark of class to come, this evening for the swearing in of really, we were opponents, but we weren't adversaries. And I think in politics today, people forget that you could be on the other side of an issue, or you can be opposing each other in a way, but you don't have to be adversarial. You can be friends, and you guys certainly ran with a measure of dignity and class, and I don't think that the citizens of Havre de Grace will ever forget that. We're truly a community of friends and neighbors here, and I think that that's been exemplified through the last few cycles. I think that that's been shared with most of my interactions with our volunteers in this community, and with our new residents, and now this group of parents that are concerned with the school situation. So I think it's all good. So, Council President, are you going to talk a little bit about that?
A little bit.
Yeah, all right. So I'll defer the rest of my comments to CP, and thank you all. Hope to see you out on Memorial Day, 11 o'clock, Tidings Park. Prior to that, 09 at Angel Hill.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Robertson. Councilmember Martin.
Mr. Mayor, Council President, council members, citizens, I'm going to start off on a little of a sad note. I want to address condolences to Curtis and Jean Biola on the passing of Curtis's mother, Ennis Faye Biola, on Saturday, May 8th. Even though in that trying time, Curtis did come to the city and represent everyone at the Alfred B. Hilton Memorial. He's part of that committee that brought this statue and memorial to this city, and he was there representing us, even though he was grieving for the loss of his mother. So, again, just keep Curtis and Jean in your prayers. I want to thank the mayor for his comments and the other council members as well. Agreed. Thanks to the chief of police. May 12th was informative. The police reform review that was done at the community center did bring to light a lot of issues. There were a little bit of positive, but the biggest thing that we need to consider with this is it's not law yet. There's one more cycle to go through. Make your voices heard. Stand up. let your elected officials know your opinion. You can't use a roller when you're doing detail work, and that's what they did. They took away the ability of police departments that are not having issues, not having problems, to be able to work with their personnel. And they took away a lot of desire from police officers to be police officers, and that's a shame. So don't be afraid to let them know your feelings, what you would expect them to do. It's greatly appreciated. One last thing on the Jazz and Blues Festival. That is June 4th and 5th. On the 5th, we are still looking for volunteers to fill some of the vacancies that are there, because this is a town of volunteers. They are requiring a lot of volunteer time and hours. So if you have some availability on Saturday the 5th, you can reach out to Debbie Martin at 410-303-2151 or D. Cooper Martin at AOL. And she would gladly, they've got 40 slots open yet. They're 2-hour slots. They're looking for volunteers. So please consider, I know we have a lot of volunteers here and at home. Please consider coming out and volunteering for that. To everyone who ran, this was a great election. I'm glad to be reelected. But most importantly, we made friends with people we really hadn't seen a lot. COVID slowed us down. But when you came to City Hall for the election, you saw nothing but friendship between all 5 candidates. So, you know, in every race, there are winners and losers. In this race, yes, we came out as winners, but I think we all came out as winners. We created new friendships and new volunteers that people that support and love the city, and it's nice to see them out there. And I want to thank them for coming out as well and supporting us again tonight. With that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilman Martin. Council President Glenn, good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and fellow council members. Mayor Martin and we met with the superintendent for about 4 hours regarding the balancing enrollment proposal. And it was reassuring during that meeting that it's not a done deal. When you look at the fact that they're making changes, it reinforces that they're listening to concerns elevated from elected officials, from parents, from concerned citizens, and most importantly, our students. We recognize up front that the challenges faced by Harford County Public Schools has to do with capacity issues at the elementary schools. However, we made a strong pitch that if they have to make changes and realign students to Roy Williams, and that we stressed was a big if, that those students come back to the new middle high school in Havre. Those kids really, truly have waited patiently for that new school. And given that, they will be the benefactors of the educational experience that that new school will bring. Bottom line, the community went to bat for these kids. And we want them to go to that new middle high school. So with that being said, we're going to continue to stay engaged in this entire process. Now, I have to reinforce, we're not the decision makers, but we will make every attempt possible to influence the overall decision. We met with the Harford County Council on a number of issues. It was a pretty good agenda put together by the city of Havre de Grace. We talked about that we wanted to be more engaged in the TARC process and how that money is distributed. We wanted to improve the gateways to the city. When you come across the bridge at Stansel Field, it's not attractive. And a lot of that belongs to the county. And they have no property maintenance code property maintenance proposals out there. And so we're trying to get legislation built that we can kind of enforce property maintenance for those gateways to make it look more attractive when you come to our city. We talked about electric redistricting. If you think about it, a while back, there was an individual that was running against Curtis, and she was from the Bel Air area. It fell in her district. Had she got elected, does she really, really represent us in the city of Havre de Grace? So that's an issue that we're trying to bring forward. We talked about one of the hot issues of the day, the hospital repurposing, and that it's important for us to do it right in that process. We talked about the school capacities. We talked about the intersection at Route 40 and Otsego and the challenges it brings to people every single day. We talked about the 8A tax and what the purpose of the 8A tax was. And if you're not aware of it, the golf course was brought into the city of Havre de Grace to use that as open space for Bully Rock. And we gave them a pass for the first 10 years, that you didn't have to pay the 8A tax for 10 years. And then when the 10 years was up, their proposal was, well, we don't want to pay it now. I mean, we need to collect that money because it'll bring anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 to this city. And we were telling Hartford County Council, we need your support to ensure that our legislators don't take that away from us. Again, a lot of key issues was brought up. There's good dialogue. If I had one concern about that meeting, it was only an hour. And when you talk about some of the challenges that we're facing, we needed more than an hour to discuss, where we're going with that. Let's talk about some dedicated nurses. When it comes to dedicated nurses in their career field, two of our very own were recently recognized. Tyler Coakley was recently recognized as Hartford Memorial Hospital's ER Nurse of the Year. And Kelly Glenn, who's a trauma nurse at Christiana Hospital, was recognized as one of Delaware's top nurses in 2021. Both of those individuals are graduates of Havre de Grace High School. And it just goes to reinforce Grace on top. Again, the election, my congratulations go to Bill, Dave, to Jason, and Carolyn on your reelection. I look forward to working these four fine folks, plus Jimmy and Casey. You couldn't ask for a better team, but I want to reinforce what my counterpart said to Tammy and Rich. What a positive campaign you guys run. It reinforced that we do it right. I mean, there was no negative campaigning. It was positive all the way. You talked about what you're going to bring to the table, and like Dave Martin said, there were no losers. Police reform, I have some real issues at what's happening down in Annapolis with that. When you look at what social media is putting out there, it causes concern. And I really think that our legislators have to pay more attention on how things really, really work and what a police officer faces on a daily basis. When I first got elected to city council, I had the opportunity to go to Atlantic City with Chief Walter. And I spent a 2-day seminar and watched video after video after video of what a police officer faces on a daily basis. And you hear things like, well, they're too tough. They're too aggressive. They got to be more laid back. Well, I saw a video. They told this officer just that on a previous traffic stop the day before, he was too aggressive and to back off. So that day, he pulled somebody over. And he said on multiple occasions, "Sir, would you drop the weapon?" The guy with the weapon laughed, said, "You're not going to do anything." He shot that police officer through the head, and he left 2 small kids behind. When somebody has a weapon in their hand and they don't drop it for a reason. They're not dropping it because they're going to use it. And I really feel for our police officers each and every day that the legislators are passing legislation that really makes them second guess why they want to be a police officer. So, Chief, I want you to pass to your officers. I want to personally thank them for all they do. We are so fortunate, and I don't care what anybody else says. They're the true unsung heroes of this community. It wouldn't be council comments if I didn't have some Warrior Proud updates. So I went and looked. I probably didn't capture everything, but I saw where the baseball team beat Seton Mill Wright 6-2. The softball team beat Aberdeen 20-3, and they beat Falston 3-2. And although they have a very young team, they have a winning record this year, so that's great for the girls. Our tennis team, which is very, very young, ended up in a tie with Rising Sun. Boys lacrosse beat Aberdeen 18-11, and the girls lacrosse team beat Aberdeen 22-1 and Rising Sun 14-5. And I gotta say, if you want to watch some girls in action, go watch girls lacrosse because they're undefeated. They haven't been beat yet. Last but certainly not least, I got a text message the other day from Tommy Lloyd. And Tommy's son Gavin is an outstanding wrestler. And he was robbed really of his senior year of wrestling. Had he been able to wrestle this year, he would have broke all records for Havre High School with wrestling, without a doubt. But he just recently competed and won the Maryland State Freestyle State Championship and the Greco Championship in Myersville, Pennsylvania. He won both of them. He's going to be going to Roanoke College next year. He's going to do great things. He's going to make us proud, and I wish him nothing but the best as he wrestles for the Roanoke Maroons. And last but certainly not least, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this week it was pretty special for the Glenn family because my granddaughter Harper was born. And she's precious. She's a little tiny. She was, 5 pounds, 7 ounces. But Jordan is officially a big brother. Mr. Mayor, that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Council President. We're going to go to item number 26 on this evening's agenda. It's comments from citizens. This is the part of the agenda if you're here to speak on anything that was, or any matter of city business that was not on the agenda, please be recognized. Okay. We're going to go to item number 27, adjournment. This is the part of the evening and the agenda that we closed the meeting. Okay. Anybody wish to make a motion to end the meeting?
So moved.
I have a motion by the council president, seconded by? By Councilman Ringsager. All those in favor say aye.
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 All against say nay.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn the May 17, 2021 council meeting is approved 6-0 in the affirmative. The time is now 10:06. Good night, everybody, and thank you very much. Have a grace.